Hello everyone, today we are talking to Paji and Iasmin, the creators behind Outcasts from the 853. We're going to dig into everything from Cantonese slang, life in the US, and what they most miss about Macau. We hope you enjoy. Thank you so much for doing this. So excited to finally be able to meet you. I'm going to dive straight into it. It's interesting because you're both mixed. I'm mixed. I've also always felt a little bit like an outcast. How do you think growing up feeling like that has influenced you as a person?
Well, the first thing I think of is being flexible with any kind of environment or people that I'm hanging out with. So maybe growing up, like if I'm with more locals and the food I eat is more local, or it's kind of like you mold yourself to fit whatever like environment you're in. And some people might say like, oh, that's you're people pleasing, or you're trying to change who you are to be where you're at.
Yeah, I find that it helped me be way more adaptable, for sure. And we both have mixed parents. Like she is Filipino-Brazilian, I'm Filipino-Sri Lankan. When we get home,
that's a whole nother
yeah, so they do speak English, but it's kind of like a little broken, and so communication is hard at home, like in terms of the family.
Growing up, living in Macau, did you have to almost act a little bit like a translator sometimes for the family?
We were born to be translators. Especially me being the eldest, I'm like,
oh yeah,
translate from
yeah,
translate this birth paper. I'm just kidding.
It's very different. It's like you're given a phone when you're like 10 years old, like, here, answer the phone, tell us what he's saying. And I'm like, I don't know. Like, you're 10 years old, why?
Yeah.
Fathima.
Yeah. And
like, sometimes it's also like official government documents that like
the words are like way more, serious and stuff. And it's not like you can Google like before.
Oh yeah, now you have Google Translator where you can just take a picture.
No, we have to like dictionary,
There were dictionaries before that we grew up with, and like
that really pushed us to learn Cantonese the fluent way, obviously, because I do know a lot of friends that grew up in Macau and doesn't know how to speak a lick of Cantonese. So you really have to like push and use the language to actually sound good in the language. And yeah, that's every language, to be honest.
So that's a little bit of background. I want to jump straight into the podcast. And you started in 2021. When do you feel like the podcast really took off? Was there a particular episode, video, moment? What was that click and everything changed?
It was a couple reels that kind of just went poof viral. There was one with a friend who mispronounced the word in Cantonese. That grew to 400K on TikTok. The one where you were playing around with like direct translation with lobster, dragon shrimp, that also went crazy.
I think that was the other video too, like us doing leipa.
Like a poem making fun of like
Oh yeah, that one is great.
I love doing that one. I used to do long chong, right?
That was the first one I came across.
So I don't know if you saw recently, I started to dub like White Chicks, the movie. I thought it was a great idea because I feel like I learn a lot of my Cantonese through watching movies on those Chinese channels, because they have Chinese and English subtitles. And it's like so easy to, you hear the Cantonese and you see the words in English and Chinese. So you're like getting three all at once, because how the written is different from spoken. So yeah, it's a very good way to learn. And
you really do know a lot of slang. Very impressive. I know like 10% of what you know. So.
That's the perk of going to local school. You just learn from the local kids.
And what are some of the kind of best practices you found most effective for fostering your loyal and very, very active audience?
A lot of our followers actually are from either the States, like UK, even Canada, and they do, like, a lot of them speak Cantonese and we didn't know, or like their family speaks Cantonese. So their level of Cantonese is like almost either less than us or closer to us, you know, so they kind of feel like, oh, these guys aren't speaking like the local super, you know, Cantonese family language, but it's like kind of in between. I feel like that's why they connect with our stuff, and the fact that we mix around English and Canto too, or to adapt Cantonese into Western culture. I think they appreciate that a lot.
And do you get a lot of your subscribers from Macau and Hong Kong?
Actually,
I think Hong Kong, Hong Kong grew,
grew a lot
at some point.
year.
And then some people were even saying like, oh, we can learn English from you guys, because
Oh yeah, that's what it was. Hong Kong people, yeah, they're like, I actually come here to learn English. Yeah, I'm like, oh, that's cute.
When you meet the older folk, what is their feedback regarding your podcast?
I was in an Asian mart in Florida, so it's like a small Asian mart. Then this woman is like, Outcasts, like this old Asian woman. I'm like, whoa.
I think we kind of reached to the people who moved away from Hong Kong, like
Even
20, 30 years ago, and then they just relate to our content a lot.
That's true, because like, okay, yeah, sometimes like our, you know, I mean, we're adults. Sometimes it's a little like rated stuff, like, you know, chow hao, a little swear word. A little auntie would say, "Ay ya, mo gong chow hao la." Look at the comments. I'm like, sorry.
你哋女仔嚟㗎，
係啊，唔好咁粗魯啦。
But then when we do post like clean stuff, our younger audience go, "Where's the DLLM?"
So does the Chou Hao then bring in more views?
Actually, the poop one.
Oh yeah, that's a million. Like me talking about quantifiers of poop, like that gave us like a million views at least. Like I thought it was interesting, you know, how you can just say Macao, yeah, pet. And people know.
Yeah.
People know about your bowel movements that way. So, yeah.
Can you tell me what has been the most surprising thing about starting this podcast?
There's so many people connecting in Cantonese to us. Like when we started the podcast, we just we were so lost on what we wanted to do actually, that we literally were saying, okay, let's just chat and see what goes on. And the Cantonese like content got popular on
That
Instagram.
one came after.
Yeah, it came
initially
after.
we were just there to talk about like our experience moving to America, like the cultural difference, but the Cantonese content part came after because we were like, this is popular, this is getting more views.
We were just talking about it casually. I think we were talking about it because of our school, and then we made a real life thing out of that, and it's like, oh, people actually like Cantonese stuff, because we were like, no one's gonna speak Cantonese, you know. That's what we thought when we went out of Macau.
And can you tell me a bit, because now you've got obviously the podcast, you've got merch, and you've got your Cantonese master courses.
Last year, a lot of people asked for it, and then we both also just had a period where we were just freelance, doing jobs and gigs on the side. So we had a lot of time.
So yeah, we spent like a few months, almost a year, like creating the first beginner's course. I feel like as a kid that always sleeps in class, like it's important to make it interesting, right? Like fun and like easy to remember and stuff. So like memorable.
I think it's very relatable content as well, right?
Yes, exactly.
And you teach a lot of slang in your master courses too, correct?
On the new course coming out, yes, we're gonna add more slang. But the first one was really just for basic, for people who really have zero knowledge of Cantonese or like want to brush up their foundation. But on this one coming up soon, that would have more slangs and more scenarios.
Example,
Yeah.
conversations.
It's amazing what you're doing because, you know, Mandarin, Cantonese, and we want to keep the Cantonese language alive. So kudos to you.
I feel like it was very coincidental. I think that was also another reason why our Cantonese Outcasts project grew, was because of this whole like political situation. But we weren't super aware of that when we were here in America.
Yeah.
Until we reached to the community and find out like, oh, like that's
When I was teaching planets,
oh yeah.
I said, "Oh, planets in Chinese are easier to remember, but because in Chinese words, right, it's all the same in Mandarin and Cantonese, and that's why I said Chinese." But in the comments, like, "Do you
That
mean
was so
Cantonese?"
controversial.
Yeah, and it's like, and then people are like, "Cantonese is Chinese." I'm like, didn't know, but you know, when we're in school, that's 中文堂, it's Chinese.
Besides your family, what do you miss most about the city?
Definitely food.
Yeah, definitely food. They just have so many styles. Like, all the cuisines are done great, you know? Like, there's always great cuisines and like Thai. Oh my god, if you go Thai here, it's generic.
It's
like,
no,
watered
you
down.
can't.
Like, just no MSG, right? They say like no MSG, but like, is
Yeah,
that something to
it's
be proud of?
It's just like the food is so diverse.
What's your favorite restaurant in Macau? One each.
Come lay.
Cam Lei.
Come lay mean team. Sick team, sick, yeah.
Music Mina.
No, lamb chow mein, dog, ngao gan gai.
I like my go-to is Sengay. It's like basic, local.
She loves the
I
chop.
love my
She's a
charm
chop
fun.
girl.
Like, and my chok and my jong. Yeah.
Did you say zhong? Like Dragon Boat zhong?
Chong, yeah.
Wow.
Lo mai gai, yeah. Like, she just like,
Lo mai gai.
she loves those. Yeah.
Okay.
That's like, I know it's basic, but it's just it hits home, you know? Like, it warms my belly.
When can we find you back in Macau?
It would be like, if we were to go, it would be November to December.
Okay. And so we'll catch you in Macau next time.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time and for inviting us
Thank you.
all on here. And we're super honored and grateful.
Thank you for watching. We hope you enjoyed this interview. To stay in the know, follow Macau News on our social media platforms or our website.